At this moment, countless beams of light shot out from the small cauldron. Then Tiu activated the Jia Menving seal, and the 9-colored light quickly pierced through the entire sea of blood. A horrifying power began to pull the entire blood world into the cauldron. The evil spirit shrieked, "Oh my goodness, what kind of demonic thing is this? Don't suck me in too." He screamed in panic, sensing the terrifying power of the mountain and river cauldron. As fear welled up from the depths of his soul, then Tiu replied coldly, "Why fret? The immediate priority is to suppress this blood beast first. Just wait patiently inside for a while. Once I have enough power to fully refine it, I will let you out." Then Tiu changed hand seals, and the world power of the mountain and river cauldron gradually shrank. The cauldron itself reverted to its original size, floating and rotating in mid-air. This mountain and river cauldron is inherently a sacred artifact and possesses complete world power. Even if the blood beast hammered at it fiercely, it would be impossible for it to break through. He recited an incantation, and the phoenix divine flame slowly descended, beginning to heat the great cauldron. His goal was to refine the blood beast, extracting the Ayatinang earth rest oil, and the hammer. He didn't care about the other profound artifacts. Playing big like this, the evil spirit inside was essentially enjoying good fortune. The demon dragon's form appeared, saying with a look of dissatisfaction, "You're not keeping your word to me like this." Cold sweat streamed down Laventia's forehead. Controlling the mountain and river cauldron was extremely draining, especially after just splitting off a spiritual light clone, which consumed a terrifying amount of soul power. He pouted and asked, "What's wrong? Are you angry?" The demon dragon replied in a deep voice, "As fellow spirit bodies, I just feel sorry for my kind." Then Tiu said, "It's not as serious as you think. This refinement method is only meant to melt down the artifacts on the blood beast's body and disintegrate its physical structure. Only then can it be completely subdued. It definitely won't harm the soul body. The evil spirit inside will only suffer a little bit. At worst, we'll find a better body for it to inhabit. And that's that." The demon dragon snorted coldly. "I hope so." Then Tiu nodded slightly and asked, "How is the Dragon Bone Ox artifact refinement going?" Upon hearing mention of it, the demon dragon immediately became enthusiastic, saying smugly, "I have fully integrated it into my body and acquired an unimaginably powerful strength. I really didn't expect the rumor about the ox artifact transforming into a dragon to be true." That day, the descendant of the Black Dragon relied on only 3 dragon secret treasures to suppress experts across the entire city. It's truly unbelievable. If he gathers enough dragon artifacts to transform into a true dragon, wouldn't he be invincible in the world? Then Tiu mused. There are countless exotic treasures in the 4 seas. Given the potential of the 4 seas, collecting 9 dragon artifacts shouldn't be difficult. Yet, I've never heard of a true dragon appearing so far. There must be some hidden intricacy in this transformation process, the demon dragon pondered. I think it's closely related to the bloodline. I've been through the 4 seas, and I didn't see any particularly terrifying individuals. But no matter what, next time you encounter that person, you must be careful. This power of dragon transformation keeps increasing exponentially. It truly is a big problem. Lun Tiu said casually. I also think there's something off about that person. I'm afraid it's not simply the royal bloodline of the 4 seas. If given the chance, I really want to investigate the truth myself. Perhaps it can decipher the secret of the true dragon as well. Suddenly, his expression changed drastically, becoming as pale as a sheet of paper in an instant. He spat out a mouthful of fresh blood into the air, and his eyes revealed extreme terror. What happened? A soul power backlet. The demon dragon said in alarm. Could that thing be so hard to refine? It can cause a backlash to your soul even inside the world god stealth. His face pale, shook his head and said, Indeed, my soul power has been severely damaged, but it wasn't caused by that cauldron. It seems I can't rush the refinement of the blood beast anymore. My spiritual light soul clone has been destroyed by someone. He took a deep breath, quickly took out a pile of elixirs, and swallowed them. After that, he sat cross-legged in midair, closed his eyes, and said silently, Let me be quiet for a moment. Right now, too much information is flooding my mind. Let me process it first. The demon dragon remained silent, seeing only beads of cold sweat the size of beans pouring from Molventius' forehead. It was unclear if this was due to difficulty processing the information or discomfort from the soul power loss. After a long time, he slowly opened his eyes, but his complexion remained as pale as ever. The demon dragon said in alarm, What's wrong? The spiritual light soul clone was destroyed, but your soul was actually injured this severely. That was only a stage 2 soul body. Lin Tu shook his head with a bitter smile and said, I finally understand why Yuan Gao Han valued his stage 8 soul body so much. Once destroyed, it will likely cause permanent damage to the soul, making it difficult to progress further in the future. I will never use this thing as a scout again. Today, not only did I lose a lot of soul power, but my cultivation realm also decreased. If it were destroyed one more time, I'm afraid I would drop straight back to stage 7. At that point, I would truly be in tears. The demon dragon asked in alarm. Is it that serious? The demon dragon said in alarm. Who told you to constantly stir up trouble? Go rest and recover. My future depends entirely on you. So, what exactly happened? Can a soul body in the earth veins really be destroyed? Lin Tu became serious, and said slowly, I followed the stream and entered an extremely strange space. Then, I encountered people from the holy domain. They wanted to capture and interrogate me, but instead, I extracted quite a bit of information from them before they killed me instantly. The demon dragon stared blankly, surprised. The holy domain. So, do you plan to continue investigating? It seems this matter has already expanded quite a bit in scope. Lin Tu snorted and said, Of course I have to get to the root of this matter. It's the key for me to fully unlock the power of the world god Stel. How can I possibly neglect it and let it go? His expression suddenly changed, and he muttered softly, Something bad has happened, outside the garden. Because Lin Tu's soul energy was heavily consumed, his control over the profound artifact significantly weakened, causing violent shaking inside the Imperial Bell. The King Shibai Dao inside started to go wild. Under the suppression of the world god Stel, and the 3 celestial cold star swords, it gradually lost control, stirring and wanting to escape confinement. Finally, a loud noise rang out, flinging the Imperial Bell far away. The King Shibai Dao shot powerfully into a nearby puddle and sank, disappearing without a trace. Lin Tu's face turned pale as he immediately gathered the profound artifacts back together. His eyes widened into a blood moon, intently staring deep into the water. But the silhouette of the corpse parting knife had long since disappeared without a trace. It seems to have gone very far away, but there's only one path below. Could it have swum back up? If so, I must follow it in there. Li Yunxiao contemplated softly for a long time, and then he plunged into the water, swimming up in the opposite direction from before. The vitality in this stream was unusually abundant, continuously nourishing his body, and his soul energy gradually recovered as well. However, in such a short period of time, it would be difficult to return to his peak state. Demon Dragon suddenly exclaimed in surprise. This spring water contains such strong vitality, yet why are there no living creatures surviving in it? Li Yunxiao raised an eyebrow and looked carefully. That's right, he thought. He had been too engrossed earlier to notice. The underground waterway was terribly gloomy, and the warm water was getting colder and colder. A few hours later, Li Yunxiao swam into a surprisingly vast space. At the bottom of the lake, faint light shone down, revealing an extremely complex structure that seemed to be arranged according to some rule. The corpse parting knife had completely disappeared, and no other paths appeared. Instead, he discovered a hidden formation. Could this underground current have been deliberately excavated by someone? Li Yunxiao looked surprised as his body landed on a solid pillar. Reaching out to feel beneath it, he sensed a faint stream of power appearing and disappearing intermittently. Li Yunxiao looked at the pillar, his face suddenly showing extreme horror. His entire body trembled violently. The traces on the pillar were clearly corroded by demonic energy, identical to the marks he had seen in the extracelestial region and on Mount Sumeru. There was no mistake. Li Yunxiao's expression became extremely serious. He spoke in a deep voice. I finally understand why there are no creatures in this water. It turns out it's due to corrosive demonic energy. This thing is so weak that the naked eye can't recognize it, yet it can dissolve 7th level materials. I now have a bad feeling. It seems that this buried bone ground and the great demons have an intimate connection. Demon Dragon said with a peculiar look. Mount Sumeru region, extracelestial region. You're always releasing great demons. This buried bone ground truly is a savior for those great demons. If the holy domain knew about the good deeds you're doing, they would probably be the first to want to destroy you. Li Yunxiao held the pillar, examined it for a moment, and then slowly spoke. I'm not clear about what happened at Mount Sumeru, and the extracelestial region was caused by greed. If a great demon truly appears this time, then so be it. This thing is related to the water origin, an item I absolutely must seize. Demon Dragon immediately raised a hand to stop him. He quickly said, What are you saying? Use your head and think carefully, Hu Feiyan. It's still not too late to stop now. He pointed to his own head. Think it through completely. Don't act foolishly again. Li Yunxiao pondered for a long time, seemingly considering seriously. Then he said, I truly didn't think thoroughly enough just now. I have already released 2 great demons, and now a third one stands before me. How can I repeat the same mistake again? No one can bear the consequences of releasing a great demon, no matter who does it. In my current state, I'm especially not confident enough to cope with the dangers that are about to strike. His eyes flared with unusual determination. He suddenly said, but since I have already set foot on this path, I absolutely will not back down. I'm truly irredeemable. Aha! To Demon Dragon's utter astonishment, he began pulling up each submerged pillar from the bottom of the water, just like pulling out nails. 1 block flew out in an instant. Next, one by one, he pulled them up. A total of 7 pillars. The moment the last pillar was pulled out, the entire current suddenly began flowing downwards again, continuously being sucked into the ground. Furthermore, the speed was increasing rapidly, and the direction was now reversed compared to when he first arrived. Li Yunxiao's heart trembled intensely. The entire underground current had obviously subtly changed its operating mechanism. With his talent for causing trouble, he immediately swung down following the current. After a very long time, Li Yunxiao's body felt like it was free falling from the sky. All around him was suddenly and boundless, vast void. The spring source gushed forth, cascading down like a waterfall where 9 layers of clouds broke their banks. After falling over 100 jun, his body landed in a pool where a powerful life essence was emitted. Li Yunxiao looked around, wondering to himself, an underground world, with such a large cavern, why hasn't this buried bone ground collapsed at all? It's truly strange. Suddenly, his entire body shivered as a sense of unease washed over him. A cold aura of death arose from deep within his heart. This was a martial artist's instinct activated from deep within his soul, making Li Yunxiao's thoughts spin rapidly like a top. He had experienced this feeling of death before. It appeared just before he was about to be obliterated, causing his body parts to react at super speed. The last time, in the Thenni mountain range, this feeling had made him break out in a cold sweat. Li Yunxiao's pupils turned into blood moons. He suddenly noticed a cold light flashing in the water, and the great corpse separation blade shot out of the pool, swinging towards him. Li Yunxiao quickly executed his movement technique, stepping on the water surface to retreat. At the same time, the spiritual power in his sea of consciousness exploded violently, causing the surrounding space to twist as if being torn apart. In an instant, his figure became blurred, rapidly evading the fatal blow. However, a streak of blood was unavoidable, drawing a long line through the air. A horrifying wound appeared to Li Yunxiao's body, stretching from his shoulder all the way down to his waist. Fresh blood had dyed nearly half of his body red, dripping continuously onto the water surface like rain. Li Yunxiao's face was pale. He quickly activated the immortal golden body, and strands of golden light immediately emerged from the wound, beginning to repair his body. The previous blade strike had hit him head on. The blade nearly grazed past his body. But even so, without the protection of the immortal golden body and the bright moon body, that strike would have been enough to finish him off. After successfully hitting him, the corpse separation blade flipped in mid-air, once again transforming into a crescent moon blade and slashing straight down at his head. He had just desperately unleashed his spiritual power, causing his soul force to nearly dissipate. Both his body and soul were no longer capable of continuing to deal with the corpse separation blade. Getting hit by this move would surely mean death. From between Li Yunxiao's eyebrows, the world god stele immediately flew out, transforming into a burst of light that shot into him in the blink of an eye. At the very moment he stepped inside, the blade aura arrived just in time to slash. It slashed directly onto the world god stele, and a massive surge of energy exploded violently. Li Yunxiao safely stepped inside the world god stele, his face still pale. He murmured, "Fortunately, the spiritual energy here is abundant and surging, which can help me recover quickly. Later, I must try using the ancient golden script to deal with it." Just then, the entire space shook, and a blade aura tore through the boundary force crack, chasing inside from outside. What the heck? Li Yunxiao was extremely shocked, his eyes widening like 2 bowls. Only the pure flower pool had been able to break through his boundary force. He had expected this corpse separation blade to be able to do something similar. There was no time to think. He waved his hand to form a seal, preparing for the next battle. A streak of sword aura condensed in his palm, transforming into the Supreme 3 Absolute Sword technique, which he unleashed with astonishing power. The 3 streams of power collided violently in mid-air, resulting in a heaven-shaking explosion. Li Yunxia's body was heavily struck and sent flying several tens of meters away. He fell heels overhead onto the cold ground, looking miserable like a puppet with cut strings, completely disheveled. Continuous coughing tormented him. If he took another fatal blow like the one before, he definitely wouldn't be able to endure it anymore. The demon dragon sneered mockingly from the side. Huh. How about that? Scared, now? Li Yunqiao smiled faintly. It would be strange if I wasn't scared. That 9th-generation spirit blade managed to crack the boundary force of the world god Stel. How could a spirit artifact with rudimentary intelligence do something like this unless it was being manipulated from afar by a peak 9-star martial emperor? Sure enough, outside the world god Stel, just as Li Yunxiao had guessed, a pale arm reached out from nowhere and tightly grasped the hilt of the corpse separation blade. His pitch-black figure stood tall before the stone Stel, and an intermittent voice rang out. After all these years, as the master of the Gaithenbai finally reappeared in this world, Li Yunxiao felt somewhat stuck inside the Gaithenbai. He asked, "Tell me, do you think the master of the Bidao is lurking outside, waiting for me to show myself so he can kill me?" The demon dragon pondered. Based on the philosophical rambling it spouted earlier, probably not. Its goal is just to protect that pool of water, Li Yunxiao scornfully said. Demon dragon, why don't you go outside and scout around first? The demon dragon raised its middle finger and cursed loudly. But no. Go yourself, you old fox. Li Yunxiao kept contemplating. It seemed he had to heal his injuries first before planning further. Fortunately, the Thebito didn't seem to have any intention of continuing the fight. The spiritual energy here was as abundant as a spring, so recovery would be quick and wouldn't take much time. Several days passed, and Li Yunxiao's injuries were finally completely healed. He sighed to himself. This time, I was lucky to have the protection of the indestructible golden body and bright moon divine physique. Otherwise, the tragedy of the past in the thinning mountain range would surely have repeated itself. Now, it was time to go out and see what was happening. Li Yunxiao silently emerged from the Gaithenbai, sneaking around like a mole. He thoughtfully observed his surroundings and found that the Thebito had disappeared. With such a powerful force guarding it, trying to steal the water origin was truly a futile endeavor. However, leaving empty-handed left him feeling extremely frustrated. After a moment of thought, he raised his hand, and a small piece of Ayatineng appeared in his palm, emitting a faint, weak yellow light. The demon dragon was startled, and asked, "What are you planning to do?" Li Yunxiao narrowed his eyes viciously and asked, "If I throw this piece of Ayatineng into this pool, what do you think will happen?" The demon dragon cried out in fear, "You're crazy. Earth overcomes water. The endless power of the earth element will fill the bottom of the pool, and the water origin inside will also be destroyed. Aren't you afraid of losing everything in the process? Not only would you fail to obtain the water origin, but you would also lose the Ayatineng." Li Yunxiao's expression was dark and unpredictable. He said, "There's an old saying, he who pities the child won't catch the wool. Besides, didn't Hythe still keep another piece of Ayatineng? Moreover, this piece is so small, it probably won't completely destroy the water origin. Master of the Gaithenbai, you don't need to do that." Just as Li Yunxiao prepared to act, suddenly, a gloomy voice echoed, sounding as if from the underworld. "Since recognizing the Gaithenbai, I have been here, waiting for this day. Throughout all these years, just hoping to be able to meet the master of the Gaithenbai once more in this place." Li Yunxiao shuddered and quickly stopped himself from throwing the Ayatineng. Hearing this tone, it was clear that the other party knew exactly what the Gaithenbai was. Underneath the inky black water, a figure slowly emerged. Naturally, it was nothing more than a bare, emaciated skeleton. The white skeletal hand tightly grasped the Thebito. A powerful aura emanated from the skeleton, and an intermittent voice transmitted, "Master of the Gaithenbai, for what reason do you want to open this seal?" Li Yunxiao shivered internally, focusing his gaze carefully. It really was a skeleton, looking exactly like the master of the Thebito. He cautiously asked, "Who are you?" "I picked up this Gaithenbai by chance, but the 4 major realms inside have all collapsed. I need the water origin to recreate earth, water, fire, and wind." The skeleton remained silent for a long time. Then an intermittent voice transmitted again. It said, "There are no coincidences in this world. Since you have obtained the Gaithenbai, that is your destiny. I will help you. But when I vanish, this seal will open." Li Yunxiao was startled. "Who are you? What exactly does this seal imprison?" The skeleton calmly replied, "I am just a wisp of a residual soul, bound within this corpse, unable to find transcendence. The seal I hold is only one part. After you open the 4 major realms, I hope you can help me find eternal rest. Li Yunxiao frowned. Eternal rest naturally meant death, but he hadn't expected this skeleton to yearn for death yet be unable to achieve it. He agreed. Alright. I will do what I can. It's just that, inside this seal is a great demon. Where exactly did this great demon originate from? The skeleton was silent for a long time, then slowly said, Don't know. That's right. It's been too long. When heaven and earth were in primordial chaos, the Tao transformed into one. One split into two. And from two came three. What is called demonic energy is precisely the breath exhaled from chaos, naturally taking shape, as resilient as a hungry leech, neither born nor destroyed. It is the matchmaker for all calamities. If this demonic energy gathers for long enough, it will condense into a spiritual sentience, also known as the black flame ferocious soul killer, one of the 10 directions true spirits whose name alone sounds ominous. Black flame ferocious soul killer. Li Yunxia was startled. He had encountered this entity in the Phoenix Sea of Consciousness before. It was indeed a 10th level true spirit. He timidly asked, Is the great demon you mentioned this black flame ferocious soul killer? The skeleton shook its head. Although that black flame ferocious soul killer is known as a 10th level true spirit, it's nothing to be afraid of. It's far from worthy of being called a great demon. It's truly just an empty reputation. The skeleton suddenly asked, During the ancient battle of Chumenam, have the seals containing the separated great demons opened yet? Li Yunxiao secretly broke out in a cold sweat. If a 10th level true spirit was considered scary, then how strong must this skeleton have been in the past? Definitely no less than the divine realm. His mind was in a turmoil. He then asked, Demons have appeared in both Mount Meru and the outer starry sky, with identical forms. Are these the great demons you were referring to? The skeleton pondered for a moment, saying that too much time had passed. Perhaps the name had changed. I don't remember clearly, but that demon lord's name was. Li Van Tu was puzzled. Is that old man who calls himself the Emperor the demon lord you mentioned? He doesn't look very scary. The skeleton slowly replied. The situation has changed. Years have passed, and each generation has its own responsibilities. This is not my era. I have even forgotten the appearance of my relatives and friends. The former master of the Divine Stele once said that the day I met the Divine Stele again would be the day I left the dragon transformation pool. Li Van Tu shuddered upon hearing this. He had always thought acquiring the Divine Stele from the Lai family warehouse was a mere coincidence. Now, hearing this, it seemed his fate had been arranged countless years ago, giving him the feeling that someone was controlling his destiny. Dragon transformation pool. Li Van Tu asked, Was this burial ground called the dragon transformation pool before? Was the seal in the dragon's vein meant to seal demons? The skeleton replied, Demonic bodies require holy energy for suppression. This place once gave birth to a true dragon, and is where the world's dragon energy converges. It possesses immense power itself, which is why it was chosen as a demon suppression ground. The dragon transformation pool has 7 great suppression nodes, and the strongest one, the dragon's tear node, was guarded by me. What you perceive as the water elemental origin is actually a drop of the true dragon's tear. The skeleton slowly raised its hand, and a crystal clear water element block spawned rapidly above its white bone claw, radiating powerful energy. Let me use my last bit of strength to assist the master of the Divine Stele in this era. The skeleton's body moved slightly, and slipped directly into the Divine Stele. Li Van Tu was startled, and hurriedly scurried to follow it inside. The scene before him made him shudder with endless terror. He saw only the skeleton quietly floating in mid-air, its bone markings circulating and Dharma seals constantly changing. Spiritual rain suddenly began to fall from the sky onto the place that was originally desolate and empty. Each sparkling drop, like jade, carried infinite life force and spread across the land. Li Van Tu was stunned by this ancient power. The skeleton was utilizing the complete great way of water without holding anything back, pushing the power of the true dragon's tear to its limit. The drop of true dragon's tear transformed into the water elemental origin, spreading continuously throughout the Divine Stele. Every living being inside felt their entire bodies lighten, and their spiritual platforms cleared, as if cleansed by heaven and earth. At the same time, the main body of the Divine Stele resonated deeply. The other great domains simultaneously sensed this, connecting through Tao principles. The entire area of heaven and earth trembled as if a new world were beginning. This grand spectacle was far more powerful than when he had opened the other domains previously.